Marcus Webb stood at the crosswalk on 5th and Main, his guide dog Sergeant pressed against his left leg, both waiting for the signal to cross. The veteran had lost his sight to an IED in Fallujah 8 years ago, but he'd built a life afterward. He'd learned to navigate the world through sound and touch, through Sergeant's steady guidance, and through the kindness of strangers who still believed in helping others. Officer Ryan Mitchell was having the worst day of his rookie year. 2 calls had gone wrong, his training officer was furious, and he was wound tight as wire when he saw the man with the dog step into the crosswalk against the light. Ryan shouted at him to stop. Marcus, unable to hear over the traffic noise and his headphones playing an audiobook, kept walking. Sergeant hesitated, confused by the conflicting signals. What happened next would become the moment that changed everything. And if you think this story is just about one mistake, stay until the end, because the truth is so much more powerful than that. Ryan made a split-second decision based on fear and frustration rather than training. He grabbed Marcus's arm roughly, and when Marcus instinctively pulled away, startled and unable to see who was touching him, Ryan deployed his taser. Marcus collapsed on the asphalt, his body convulsing, Sergeant barking frantically beside him. The crowd that had gathered gasped in collective horror. By the time Ryan realized Marcus was blind, that the dog was a service animal, that he'd just tasered a veteran who couldn't even see him coming, it was too late. The video was already being recorded by a dozen phones. Marcus lay on the ground, disoriented and trembling, and Ryan felt his entire world crumbling beneath the weight of what he'd done. 7 minutes later, as Ryan tried to explain himself to his supervisor and Marcus sat in the ambulance being checked by paramedics, the sound of heavy engines filled the street. A military convoy, 7 vehicles strong, pulled up and surrounded the intersection. Men and women in uniform stepped out, and at the front was Colonel Sarah Chen, her silver oak leaves gleaming in the afternoon sun. She walked directly to Marcus, knelt beside him and said quietly, "Captain Webb, it's Colonel Chen from the 3rd Battalion. We heard what happened." Marcus's face crumpled. "I'm not a captain anymore, ma'am. I'm just Marcus now." Sarah shook her head firmly. "You're a decorated officer who led men through hell and brought them home. You don't stop being who you are because someone forgot to see you." What happened next showed everyone watching what real accountability looks like. And if this story is reminding you why we need more people willing to stand up for what's right, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Sarah turned to face Ryan and his supervisor. Her voice carried the weight of command. "This man served 3 tours. He lost his sight saving his squad. He's earned more respect than what happened here today." She wasn't yelling. She didn't need to. Every word landed like a gavel. But then Sarah did something unexpected. She looked at Ryan, really looked at him, and saw a young officer drowning in his own mistake. "Officer Mitchell, my troops made mistakes too. The question isn't whether you failed. It's what you do next." She arranged for Ryan to spend 2 weeks training with veterans who had disabilities, learning what he should have known, understanding what real service meant. Marcus pressed charges, not for revenge but to ensure change. The case led to new police training protocols across the state. Ryan became an advocate for better disability awareness in law enforcement, carrying his shame like a lesson rather than a secret. If this story reminded you that redemption is possible when people choose growth over pride, share it with someone who needs hope. Tell me in the comments about a time someone held you accountable and it changed you. And remember, we're all one moment away from being either the person who makes the mistake or the person who shows grace afterward. Choose wisely which one you'll be.